Hi, it's Chris.
Yes.
Hi, Chris. This is Dominic.
Hi.
From Yelp.
Yeah.
Hi. Before we get going, as usual, I need to let you know that the call may be recorded or monitored for quality or training purposes, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So tell me a little bit more about how did you understand what would take place with the account or with the program once the $300 promo was used up, once it was exhausted, what would take place?
Okay, so from my understanding, it was that I would go in there to activate my credit card. So a manual action. And this was something reiterated throughout the entire thing because I was intrigued by the idea of, of taste it before you, try it before you buy it, which I get that's part of the promotion. But the whole communication from me I guess now looking back on it is probably from my first concerns and trying to reiterate my case of saying that I didn't want to pay for ads, especially not knowing how they were, how they would turn out and stuff. And then those were the rebuttal was that, oh, well, you can manually activate it. And that's what I was. And again, I know it's a he say, she say thing. And that's why I was hoping this whole line of communication was that there might be a chance that call is actually recorded, but the reps that I've been speaking with, whether it's Alfredo or a couple other people, that it was recordings that they couldn't access because they weren't sort of in a position with your access level or whatever. So that's what I was hoping from. But from my perspective and what was communicated with me, and I was very attentive, right, with doing that. And then the very last step is, oh, you got to, it's just the protocol in order for our Yelp system to actually activate these ads after they walked me through the thing. You just have to put in your credit card. It's never going to charge it, until unless you manually select that you like the ads coming through. So that's how it was sold to me.
Mm-hmm. I see.
So that's how I thought it was, right? I mean, you could think of it two different ways. You could think of it, one of, that it's, kind of like Google AdWords of, your first $200, I'm sure, is there, your credit card's on file, you're starting to get calls and stuff, and you're liking the service and you want to keep those coming through, and it's just assumed, you're going to have that. But the other one is to say, here's a free test, and it's not going to cost any more human resource on our end on Yelp in order for it to actually, be active, and then do it of the way that I thought it was, you know what I'm saying? But that wasn't, again, I was going off of what was being communicated with me, throughout those calls, which I was hoping were actually recorded.
I see. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing all that with me, and I apologize for the miscommunication or misrepresentation or misunderstanding, whatever it happened to be, or maybe it was a combination of all those things. So just a word about the recorded calls. So when I just called you, I gave you that disclaimer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about the disclaimer is we say the call may be recorded, right? It might be recorded because our system does at random, so to speak, record the sales calls, but it's not all of them. It's here or there, and then on top of that, it's always a one-sided recording.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, unfortunately, the only call that we have to was 5 days before you actually signed up.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not and it's a very, very short call.
Right,
very short.
And I was on the phone when I was signing up because that's the thing.
Yeah, so it sounds like it was probably a longer call that you guys had, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So probably longer than a few minutes, which is how long this one is that I'm seeing from 5 days prior. So with that said, there's four things working against you here. The first one is that we don't have a recorded call.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. The second thing is that in my personal experience, so my professional affiliation with Yelp aside, the fact that I'm an employee aside, my personal experience with things like this. So for instance, I just recently had a situation with they have these rent a bike or these share bike things that you can do with your app. I'm sure you see them in California too, where you can just unlock any bicycle, ride it, and then lock it back up, and then you're done with it. Are you familiar with this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they do the same thing. They offer a free week right when you download the app. It's a free week, but you have to put your card in. And the fine print is, if you have 7 days to use it, if after those 7 days you don't cancel, it automatically renews and you're charged whatever that initial plan you chose was. So that, and my experience with things like that has been pretty consistent. That if it's free and they're asking for a card, there's a catch, right? I mean, me personally, I don't like the fact that certain things are set up that way, but the truth of the matter is everybody does them that way. Amazon Prime does it that way, and then all the subscriptions you can have as a result of Amazon Prime, Cinemax, HBO, all those things you can get with Amazon Video, and these bike share companies, and we do the same. We do a similar thing, and Google does a similar thing with Google Play services. So. Mm-hmm. Like I said, the things working against you are we don't have a recorded call. My personal experience is if you're putting your credit card in, you gotta be super attentive to what it is you're signing up for, every little letter of every word of every stipulation associated with it. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that we are, I should say, not just me, but everybody here is aware of how that self-serve interface looks and what someone is presented with prior to confirming their purchase. Mm-hmm. They're given our master service. You're able to see not only the free promotional offer that you're getting, but you're also going to see what it is you're signing up for, because basically what it is, hey, you get this much free, but after that's used, it's automatically going to basically subscribe you, if you want to look at it that way. Mm-hmm. It's automatically going to subscribe you to this particular program at this particular cost, which is going to be built in this particular manner. Mm-hmm. So, and there's no time frame associated with it. That's the kicker, because we'll put ads out as the demand sees fit. So we could burn through that $300 in free Yelp ads in a week, in 6 days, in 2 months. It just depends on what the demand is in the area, unfortunately. So, those are the things that are working against you, because, like I said, I can see where you signed up. I can see the IP address that was used. I can see all these things, which is our proof to protect us on our end that the sale was obviously facilitated from a representative of ours, but at the same time, everything was communicated and presented to you upfront prior to confirming the purchase, and then not verbally. In written format through the self-serve interface. Mm-hmm. That's the issue here, is that even in the worst case scenario, let's say it was completely misrepresented by the sales rep. I'm not saying it was or that it wasn't, but let's say it was. Me personally, I'm not putting my card on anything where a sales rep tells me thing A and I'm reading thing B. We're going to stop and we're going to go through things and we're going to make sure that everything's consistent before I move forward. That's just me personally, because I've been burned in the past. You know what I mean? So, right. A business owner, when we're not trying to teach lessons here or teach life lessons or punish anybody or anything along those lines, but at the same time, it's a business, right? And we do our minimum due diligence to ensure that we communicate certain things, at the very least in written format through our interface. So those are the things that are working against you to get a refund. And I guess I'm assuming that's what you want. I don't know if that is in fact what you're actually looking for, but assuming that is what you're looking for, those are the huge hurdles standing in the way of you getting a refund. So.
Okay. I mean, I appreciate you being candid and everything. You don't need to tell me about hurdles. I obviously, have been jumping over them, through this. And again, you're correct. You got to be careful with putting your credit card. You got to read the fine print, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, when someone from Yelp is calling you multiple times, you're talking to them via email, you get an email from saying, hey, here's my info if you need anything. And we're talking, and then so there's rapport being built, and then there's a lengthy conversation the recipient of the conversation is stating that they don't want to be charged anything, but they're still kind of being sold on the idea of you're not being charged anything. It's free. And if you ever wanted to continue it, you just activate it. Then that's a whole reason why I've been, trying to champion of say, if there's a chance that these calls were recorded, the truth would be told. You know what I'm saying? And that's even regardless of the fine print and regardless of the, putting in the credit card information, because I was hesitant on that, and I didn't even know about that insight until the very end. And I thought that was just a technicality in order to have that activated. Because you're right, Play Store, the Google Play Store, but you put in that credit card information, but it doesn't charge you a fee all the time. That's only if you're buying a movie.
Not up front.
Or
yeah,
song,
not up front.
Right?
Not up front for sure.
Right.
Yeah, it's the idea that we don't charge your card until.
Well, no, I mean, even if you're on Google Play, I think even if you're signing up for a new account, you're adding that, you're associating your previous Gmail account to your new Android phone or whatever. You're putting in your credit card information in order to access the Play Store in case you're at some future date, even though there's not a subscription, there's not a fee right there. If you were to buy an app or a ebook or whatever, then you already have that account on file. That's basically what I thought I was doing. I thought there was an easy benefit in which basically you're accessing the Yelp system, the Yelp Ads, but I wasn't sold on the idea, that it just continues to charge your account after that. My assumption of not checking it was that, I'll check back on my Yelp account at some future date to see, the metrics, to see how many calls actually came from Yelp, and then if I want to activate it and turn it on again, then I might start the ads. But it didn't work out that way, and I get that was in the fine print, that's working against me and all that. But the whole concept of why I brought all this was that you could see exactly what this Katie Kilpatrick, said. And it's with such a sophisticated system as Yelp, I'll be honest, I have a moving company in Los Angeles, but I also do lead generation myself. I can go to CallRail, a very cheap service, and record not only just one way of a conversation, both the caller and the recipient of the conversation. Every single call is recorded. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that it picks and chooses when it records calls, and then someone like myself who was speaking with someone dishonest, and walked me through the process, misrepresenting what I was actually doing, until the very end of putting in a credit card and then promising again, overcoming objections, saying, no, this isn't what you think it is. Like, this is everything I told you it was going to be in this phone call. When you're doing that and you're looking to say, okay, and let me know when you click confirm and I'll check it on my end to make sure it works. You don't start looking at the about pages on Yelp and start looking at the FAQs. You know what I'm saying? So that's my whole point, is that I understand there's hurdles. This wasn't, an exercise to see if I could cause a ruckus and to go on a crazy exercise. This is something that it was misrepresented, like point blank. The calls would have shown that. The calls weren't recorded. It's mind-boggling that Yelp has calls that aren't recorded. Maybe there's some technical reason why that happens. It's definitely possible with today's technology, because I do it all the time with lead gen clients. But the point is that I still feel, I should get a refund. I shouldn't have been charged. I shouldn't have had to go through Yelp corporate, to have that escalated to talk to someone, such as yourself, that I could be redirected to in one call, returning a call, and then, still sort of go down this process. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just so you're aware of a couple things. I'm not a Yelp corporate. I'm still with the account management department. Looks like you spoke with Weston He was the account manager you spoke with initially when you canceled the program in mid-March, looks like. So yeah, him and I work in the same office. So I'm not in some super secret, area of Yelp. Just happen to have been here a really long time and I'm very familiar with.
Oh, right on. No, I'm not.
With a lot of the way these things work, and I just so happen to have some, to have some, I guess you could say, the ability to make decisions on some of these cases, depending on what comes across.
Yeah, and I appreciate
what comes
it.
my way.
I'm not trying to downplay anything.
No.
I'm just saying, I talked to Alfredo twice in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
He said, hey, if you don't hear anything in the next week, feel free to give me a call again on Friday. 2 weeks is what I'm saying. It's just from that call.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it sounded like you were up playing my my presence at Yelp. I wanted to bring it back down to.
Oh no! I'm just saying, of someone who could verify there weren't actually any other calls. Because that's what I've been getting from several reps. I don't know if it was at Weston, but I've contacted Yelp a couple times since canceling that account, and each time I've got feedback that said, well, we're only seeing one call here, which and then they said, but our the higher or the another team can access to see if there might be calls I can't immediately see on my screen. So that's what I've been waiting on.
I see. Okay, yeah. I apologize about that because that's actually not accurate. The we all have access to see when the call. We all don't have access to listen to them, but we all have access to see if there is in fact a call and when those things took place, the recordings of them at least. So when they told you that there was only the one call, maybe they probably just put too much faith in thinking that the upper level management at Yelp has to can see if there's other recorded calls. But I could tell you right now that they were correct in saying that there isn't, because there's only that one call. Okay. Like I said, that's only a few minutes, and that was 5 days prior to you signing up, so it's definitely not going to be relevant in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Well, can you tell me this? Does Katie Kilpatrick, does the person who signed me up, does she still work at Yelp?
Yeah, she's still with Yelp. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, she's still with Yelp, and she's.
Because I wouldn't mind having a conversation with her. I mean, I've from the very beginning, I've been trying to reach out to her via.
What I can do is, because like I said, it is at this point. I don't want to insult you by telling you that, by making you think that I don't trust you or that I think you're trying to pull one over on me or Yelp, or I don't want you to think that the case, but that's the case. But it is not outside of reality that we do talk to people, we do talk to business owners who try and take advantage of the fact of certain things and try and get refunds when it's unwarranted. So because of that, we have to look into all information that we have available at our fingertips, which usually, when it involves a sales representative and things that were potentially miscommunicated, misrepresented, or misinterpreted or misunderstood, usually involves pulling the one-sided recording if we have it, listening to it, inferring what was said on the other side, and coming up with a final determination. Unfortunately, in this case, that the one does not exist, and at this point, it's just a he said, she said. Now, with that said, what I can do is I can follow up with Katie myself and just ask her generally, without in a non-accusatory manner, just ask her, what was the sales pitch like? Can you give me a little bit more information in terms of how you represented it to Chris, and leave it at that and see what she tells me. And I could gather that information and take it from there. That's really all there is to do. Even if you spoke, I can't give you her contact information because that's just not how we operate here. But even if you spoke with her, I don't know what good that's really going to do unless she decides to for some reason out of her own volition, I did missell it to you. Let me go ahead and follow up with X, Y, and Z, and they can finalize that refund for you. So unless she says something like that, there really isn't anything that we can do in this situation. Like I said, specifically because if there's no recorded call, all we can rely on is what we know is communicated, in written format when you signed up, which was everything, how you be billed, what you're paying for, et cetera, et cetera. So, but yeah, like I said, I can certainly follow up with her, send her an email, and ask her that question and get some information from her and take it from there. So,
I mean, if we're connecting the dots here, we both know she's not going to remember what happened January something. Like, I don't really even remember much that happened 2 months ago. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, truth be told, she probably, while being a
that.
sales representative, she probably made 80 calls a day. I mean, I can tell you right now that she's not in a sales representative position anymore. She's actually, from what I can tell without giving too much information, she's actually a senior level staff member in sales department. So my experience with senior level staff members or sales managers is that they stick to our sales script, meaning that they typically don't missell anything. That's been my experience in looking at situations like this in the past. Obviously, I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but a greater majority of the time that's the case. So that's the other thing that's kind of,
Okay, so a couple things. One is, shouldn't the benefit of the doubt, if Yelp, isn't the burden of you guys producing the call of saying like, oh, we can't prove that? I mean, it seems like I should get a refund unless you have a recording saying, oh no, it's stated this way. I mean, we're talking about such a small percent of probably anybody who's trying to cause a ruckus and trying to be dishonest from that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
not really. I mean, I can give you an example just from earlier today that I spoke with a lady on the phone earlier today who was yelling and screaming at me for 40 minutes about how she was told one thing. This is very similar to what you're saying, actually. And I went and listened. We had the call, and I went and listened to it, and she was wrong on everything she said. Everything she told me was inaccurate. Now, whether it was a bold-faced lie or whether she just heard the word free and immediately shut down her ability to hear and comprehend what was being told to her on the other end of the phone, I have no idea. But if I would have given the benefit of the doubt to her, we would have refunded her a lot of money when she didn't deserve it.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. Then that fits into the exception of what I'm talking about, is that a very, very small percentage of people that are trying out these ads are probably going to contest the charge or whatever it's called. But what I'm saying is, like, here's a couple like things I think you should consider. Is that one, I've been going down a rabbit hole of Yelp representatives telling me that there might be recordings and having to wait on a process that, like you just said, they just didn't understand the process. So that shows something, that, like, I know there's not 100% perfect information in the organization, but at least have been going down the route to, I've been having the same story and still pursuing, because I feel like I was wronged. You know what I'm saying? The other thing is that if you promote that you have call recordings, yet you don't have a call recording from it, then rather than sort of relying on the internal organization, I mean, the amount that you would potentially be lost is very small in comparison to all of the new business that you're getting from that new revenue stream of having people manually call out to these people. The other thing that I think is a consideration is that reaching out to a sales rep when they said that they're a point of contact, and then they fall off the planet, but yet they've been promoted to a new position, I think is something else that could be cause for concern here, right? It's not just that you hear the same story all the time. I'm saying, like, please look at it as a unique situation that I've been doing literally everything I could, short of like filing a Better Business Bureau report and, like MasterCard saying small claims court. Like, I don't want to go down that. Like, this was the last resort. And I'm saying, like, even when the facts are like right, like, it seems like it seems like there should actually be signals versus it confirming of like, oh, well, the next best thing is just simply to go to Katie Kilpatrick. Definitely don't be accusatory. You know, we're coworkers here. We definitely know, you know, like, I feel like I'm being painted as somebody who's being dishonest when that's the entire reason of why I've been trying to pursue this, to say, no, I wasn't being dishonest. I wouldn't be going down this long path if I rightfully knew that this is how it worked and that my car was going to be charged hundreds of dollars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like I said, I don't want you to feel like I think you're trying to pull the wool over my eyes or Yelp's eyes. I trust what you're saying, but I have to verify it too. And unfortunately, if the
but your methods are make it impossible for you to verify it. The call recordings was the high up, the shrine of saying, oh, well, the truth will be revealed as soon as you know, someone like yourself is able to access that. That's not possible. So you can't see the truth. And the other thing is that you're relying on somebody who I could show you. I mean, if you could consider forwarded emails of you know, asking the sales rep, you know, if she was going to call me back. I'm sure you could also maybe see if there's call recordings of voicemails, you know, on there. And I would think that there would be a correlation enough to say that if both of those things happen and they don't call them back, like, wouldn't that show actually?
No, I understand what you're saying. You know, you're building a case, but you're building a case to support the claim that she was dishonest about something. You know it, she knows it, and she's running from you. That's why she's not answering your calls, et cetera. So that's the case you're building, and I understand that's the direction in which you're moving. I understand.
Yeah, I'm saying it's a case for concern rather than saying that there is nothing I can do because there is no proof because of our faulty technical system to actually record calls.
Well, no.
You know
I have to correct you on that.
Okay.
We don't have a faulty technical system. The only reason why I told you, as usual, have to let you know this call may be recorded or monitored is, you know, for quality or training purposes, is because that's a legal requirement. We have to disclose that. That's it. Our quote unquote faulty system, it doesn't just shut off at random and turn on at random. I said it records calls at random, but I said quote unquote at random. We have to record calls. Like I said, I don't know too much of the legal obligation behind it, but as far as I know, there are certain governing agencies that look into our sales practices and tactics, and they will ask for recorded calls, and so we have to have them. That's the reason why we do it at random.
Right.
The only reason why we do it at random. So, so it's not a faulty. So I have to correct you. I can't let you. Continue the conversation with you describing it as X. That's not the case.
But you're saying that was the only way for me to.
Yeah. What else would there be?
Like,
let me ask you this. Like I said, I trust what you're saying, but I have to verify it in whatever resources are at my fingertips. Unfortunately, there's no call.
But and that's the whole
thing.
That's what I'm saying. That if that's your only reasoning there, then it instantly puts me where I'm again on the defense for this. When it could be the other way around. You know, it could be almost, and I know this is self-serving, but it could be the customer's always right until we can have a recording to prove else. You know, just like you said the example earlier. I understand that could conflict with, especially and you know, all that it's other things. But I'm just saying it's a change of like philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Like if you did have the call recordings, I'm confident that you would have that. You don't have the call recordings that I learned on this call, so that doesn't. So it seems that now the assumption is, well, I'll just check with Katie and see what she thinks about that call that happened 4 months ago, and hey, I'll let you know. But
the other option is that I just look at the other option is that I close the book on this right now, and say, you know what, I have a purchase confirmation from you that tells me exactly what you agreed to, exactly what you saw and when you saw it, when you put your card in. And I could say, you know what, that's all the proof that I need to know that you misunderstood what you signed up for, and I'm not going to take any extra steps to seek out any other information which gives, you know, I could just close the book on it. That's the other option too, because like I said, I have that. I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at our purchase confirmation, the one that we have that's time-stamped and everything. That shows exactly everything you agree to when you agree to it. I can see that. And you can see it too, actually. So you can see it too when you log in here.
I'm not challenging that.
You know, I mean, what I'm trying to tell you, we're trying to work with you here. I'm trying to work with you here. There's no call. So the only thing I can do is follow up with Katie. That's it. That's all I can do. That's the only thing I can do to show you that I'm willing to go to bat for you. Otherwise, I could just close the book on it and say, you know what? We have all the information. We see. It's literally just a case that you misunderstood. You heard the word free. You heard the word free ads. Your ears shut off. You didn't hear the rest of what she said, or you misinterpreted, because you did explain to me a couple of things, how she described it. And to be honest with you, those things were all true. But the few things you told me that she said to you, those are all true, actually.
All true?
Yeah, for the few things that you told me, the few things. I don't think.
Okay, now let me. If you remember this, is that you can have the free ads, and then you can choose whether you want to activate it after that amount of $300 has been spent with the free ads, and you could choose whether you want to continue it after that. Are you saying? Did you hear that?
That's
part?
true. Yeah, that's true. You can.
Well,
yeah,
then,
that's
then
totally
there was
true.
something wrong with me signing up.
Go in
that
there.
She was walking me through when you're saying that you had the notification of the IP address, and when I viewed all that, because she was walking me through, and that's not how it worked out. It charged my account after that. I did not go back in there to choose to activate to charge my card. That's my whole basis.
Yeah, but she informed you that you can turn things on, which means you can also turn things off. That's what that means too. So because I was instantly the default of benefit from $200, $300 ad, whatever it was, is that it was turning on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And if I wanted to expend that after the set amount of $200, $300 or whatever, then I could turn on it to continue getting me more clicks or calls or whatever by using my credit card. That's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, when you go into more detail like that, true, that is difference. But like, you know, maybe it's just coming from my inherent understanding of our self-serve program, is that we offer two different types of advertising programs. They're designed on two different platforms. The one is the self-serve program, which you are part of, and the other one is the full-serve. Full-serve means we take care of everything. We turn it off for you. We shut it on for you. Anything. If you want to make a change to it, you want to increase the budget, lower the budget, we have to take care of all that for you via contract. The self-serve, which is what you were a part of, is the dead opposite of that, meaning that we don't monitor it, we don't look at it, we don't shut it off, we don't turn it on. Okay. Everything is initiated by the business owner through the Yelp for Business Owners account. So when I'm hearing, yeah, you can go in there and activate it, to me that means you can go in there and increase the budget, shut it off, turn it on, do whatever you want with it. That's all true. That's all true.
But that you misunderstood that then. Yeah, because
I think you misunderstood it, actually.
Well,
to be honest,
here's the thing. No, let's be honest here. Is that you're talking about your packages, right? The features of the self-service or the what you call it, full service.
Yeah, the full versus self. Yeah.
Okay. Now you got to know from my perspective. I'm naive here, right? I don't actually look at Yelp or advertisers packages and memorize those, or even think about them really, right? Like, I understand you have specialized knowledge of understanding those too. So it might just seem like a input-output thing of of course, silly. You know, you selected the self-service. I can see it here on my end. I can see when the timing happened, the IP address. I can see all that. It's just obvious. It's right here. Obviously, you're trying, but what I'm saying is, I had no clue. I didn't know about self-service or full service or whatever. I'm getting talked from the very beginning from a sales rep that says, here's the carrot at the end of the stick. All I'm asking for is for you to just benefit from these 300 ads. And if you like the service, you can continue the service. and get more business, and then all the additional benefits of like, oh yeah, I'm seeing a lot of needs in your local area and all that, all the kind of building on that purpose. My point though is that there's no one. I definitely didn't know what I was getting into. The reason why I've continued going on this journey of going through my bank, going through Yelp several times and whatever, is to show that. But if even at your end, the thing is a call recorded and that's sort of the end all be all, then yeah, I that puts me in a sucky position. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely am not the dishonest one here, and I'm not saying you are by any means. I'm just saying that in the alternative just seems unfair too, of saying, hey, I'll close a book on you right now. I'm giving you an option. I'm going to go to Katie and ask her a question, what happened back in January. And what I'm saying is like, that's almost already closing the book, if that's the only option, right? Because you and I, being reasonable people, we can already assume how that conversation would go, unless there's just something so remarkable about me being one of 80 people during that day that it was just something she remembers and she recalls several months afterwards. You get what I'm saying? I'm not trying to build a case
I feel you.
to say that I'm such a great person. The case that I'm saying is that it sucks that I'm even in this position, and then it sucks that I'm constantly on the defensive with something that was sold to me differently at the very beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. No, I can appreciate where you're coming from. Trust me.
So what do you suggest?
I mean, that's the only option. I can follow up with her. I can ask her. I apologize that there aren't more options here, but that's the way it is at this point. And essentially I'm giving the benefit of the doubt that, if by some chance she happens to pitch it incorrectly and happens to remember it and happens to be forthcoming enough to own up to it, then I will be giving her the opportunity to do that when I ask her if she remembers it and how she presented it and that. You know what I mean? That's really that's all we can do. There isn't anybody else here that can do anything else, because there isn't anything else to do. Like I said, I
could tell you a couple things.
Go ahead.
You
there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What I'm looking for is a refund.
I understand that. Trust me.
For
I know.
Yeah. So I'm not necessarily looking, to have a meeting of the minds of how a training program could be reprogrammed or told better, or correcting mistakes in the past. You know what I'm saying? Like with her, I mean, it was misrepresented, and what I'm hoping you could do is, refund basically what that is, and then, maybe see if that can give more like internal knowledge when you ask her. You know what I'm saying?
So you're telling me I should just refund you, and then so shoot first and ask questions later is basically what you're asking me. You're saying I should just give you the refund just because it's the customer's always right until proven otherwise, or innocent until proven guilty, or however you want to word it, and then follow up with her. But I shouldn't put much stock into what she says, because at the very end of the day, she could probably just be saying whatever she wants to say to cover her own tail, basically. Is what you're telling me.
I mean, us being reasonable people, it wouldn't necessarily be covering your own tail. It would just be memory recall.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. They make 80 calls a day, but they don't talk to 80 people a day.
Uh-huh.
They make 80 calls a day, but they don't talk to 80 people a day, and they don't pitch 80 people a day. They certainly don't close 80 deals a day, right? We're talking about, so sometimes, like I said.
Then even out of all those, and you being a person that's in a position where you can make a decision, you're not even going to consider that this person who's in a position where they don't close 80 people a day. They don't, they make 80 calls a day. Even through that, there would be some kind of a conversion rate. You wouldn't even think that it's important to see email communication where there wasn't a reply email or reply phone calls as a determinant to tell whether, as you were echoing what I was saying earlier, of that the customer is right. Because that could also show you sort of the sentiment of what this person who, if I'm part of that small percentage or whatever the percentage is of the conversion rate for her 80 calls, and she doesn't even have the time of day to reply to any of my messages after the sale is long gone when that was promised at the beginning. Are you saying that that's not even a determinant to say whether, I'm actually in a position where it's justified to send a refund?
No, definitely not for that reason. Okay. And there's reasons why. Is because once again, I want you to know, I certainly don't expect you to be a Yelp expert when you sign up for the campaign. Certainly not. Definitely don't expect that. Mm-hmm. However, when you log in, when you sign up, while you were advertising, when you click on the billing tab, not only can you see the purchase confirmation, what you signed up for, and all those details that are extremely crucial here, but you can also see who your contact at Yelp is and what their direct phone number is. Mm-hmm. See, sales is only involved in the sales. I understand she told you that she was your direct contact, or I understand that's what you're saying she said. The truth of the matter is we have two departments here at Yelp. We have sales and account management, and those are only two groups of people that talk to business owners or people who are advertising. Once a salesperson closes the deal, like in most businesses, as far as to my understanding, at least online advertising, once this deal is done, they're done. Their involvement with the thing is over with, and then you move over to us. Why? Because we have more access to things. We have more time. They're too busy making 80 calls a day. That's their job. Call, close, move on. And that's in general the concept of a sales team, and the reason why we have, some companies call them customer service, some businesses call them account management, or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. That certainly doesn't warrant a refund because she didn't get back to a couple emails you sent her. Now, if you have an email from her that says you will not be charged for anything until you go into your Yelp for Business Owners, until you log in and activate the card as a payment method, if you have an email that says that, please send that to me, and I will gladly refund every cent of what you spent. That is not a problem whatsoever. Right. You know what I mean? Not a problem.
And it also shouldn't have been a problem if the call would have been recorded for somebody to review it, but it just wasn't. And the other thing,
here, let me give you a perfect example.
It also wouldn't have been such a red flag if the salesperson who told me that if I had any questions and that they'd be my point from here on out using Yelp, that I could call them or email them, and they haven't, and I could prove that, but I can't because you just justified that you're such an organization where you're focusing on closing deals and handing them over. And the other thing is that, sorry, what?
I was like, yeah, I was just mirroring what you're saying. I was like, yeah, they come to us, account management, after the deal is closed. Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is that is Yelp a service that sells itself? Like, do people actually sign up and then buy the ads without somebody talking with them?
Oh yeah, I think the last number I heard was that we have over 100,000 self-serve advertisers, and 80-something% of those all signed up on their own.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
That's great.
as far as I know, that was the last number that I heard. I'm not. Don't quote me on that, but
Right.
the point is the greater majority of our self-serve advertisers all sign up on their own.
Okay, right on.
Full serve, opposite story. Yeah.
Okay, well then, even more so of that. If I was truly the type that wanted to take advantage of Yelp, I mean, I'm not saying take advantage in a negative way, or leveraging probably would be the better route. If that was my mindset when I was signing up for Yelp, I would likely fit probably in that 80%, right? But I wasn't, such as probably many other business owners out there, where they're prompted by a sales rep to sell them on that. But so even with the small percentage of new clients that are added on, and many of those calls aren't recorded, then you're still giving the benefit of the doubt to the sales rep of potentially misleading a user into benefiting from this hot promotion of $200, $300 ad spend. You know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily agree, but I hear what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, I appreciate your dedication to. Excuse me. I appreciate your dedication to what you're trying to accomplish. I appreciate you being open with me and sharing everything you've shared. I've told you what I can do based on what's available. I set up the proper expectations, which is basically we're not going to issue a refund at the very least we have information, we have documentation, we have proof that you had the opportunity to familiarize yourself with what you were signing up for. Whether or not you jumped on that opportunity and familiarized yourself to the degree that you should have, or that I feel you should have, personally I feel you should have, to avoid a situation like this, that's a different story. Now, like I said, I'm doing you a solid by offering to go and talk. I mean, I'm going to talk to her regardless whether you want me to or not. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to follow up with her because it's my professional obligation to do so. But I'm going to follow up with her and talk to her. But I don't want you to spin your wheels here. Like I said, that those are the options. That they're very limited. They're very limited, and I won't disagree with you there. They're very limited. Even if we had a call, they'd still be limited because at that point we're only talking about two options. Talk to her, listen to the call if it's there, and even if there's a call there, it's still one-sided, and it's still one-sided. And the other way that our system works is just so you have a little bit more information. I want you to know this. The minute a manager or someone at the managerial level monitors a call, our system stops recording. Just so that you know the way that works. Just so you know. So what that means is, let's say we had that initial pitch, the one from the 16th when you signed up that day. Let's say it was a 40-minute phone call, hypothetically speaking. Let's say over the first 20 minutes, she was qualifying you, buttering you up for the sale, however you want to put it. And those are my words, not Yelp's words. Mm-hmm. And in the next 20 minutes, when she felt like she was going to close with you and get you to sign up, it's our policy that, as far as, once again, this is to my understanding, and I'm not in sales, but to my understanding from my experience in previous situations like this, sales managers will monitor the calls to ensure that it's sold correctly at the very end, to ensure that if there's any final questions regarding payment or this or that, or how the cost per click price is determined or what have you, the billing, all those things are answered correctly to the best of their knowledge. So, this is the other thing that makes me think, like, I'm confident that there was a sales manager, her sales manager was on the other end of that call listening while she was pitching you, while she was answering questions towards the end of the call. And if she screwed it up or said something that was out of place, she would have been corrected on the spot or told to stick to the script, right? So these are the things, like, even if we had a call and it was monitored by the sales manager, we wouldn't have that recording there anyway. So I'd still be left to make a tough decision based on what we did have, which is one-sided, and I'd have to infer what your questions were based on her answers, which could have just been simple, no, yes, and that's still infer what you're saying. So really, even with a recorded call being one-sided, and the listener having to infer what's being asked or said or commented on the other end, it still boils down to, whatever the documentation, so to speak, that we have to say that, hey, this is what we presented them with in written format. They agreed to it, and they put their card in. They confirmed the purchase. That still, it always boils down to that. So, like I said, I'm going to follow up with her. I'm gonna do that for you. But I don't want us to spin our wheels here any longer, because there really isn't anything else to discuss. I mean, we've been on the phone for roughly an hour almost, and I think we arrived at where we're at right now probably 30 minutes ago. Unless there's anything else you want to vent about, or I'm willing to listen. But beyond that,
I'm not sure.
I don't want.
I'm trying to just. I mean, you're the first one I've actually got clarity from, right?
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but something I would like is because I mean, you're going to talk to what's her name, Katie, anyway. And let's be honest, it's likely case closed. We don't have, we can basically claim that we have call recordings, through a series of sort of other people that when I call in, in the corporate office and stuff, I'm saying, we'll have to send that to our quality assurance team and everything like that. But it seems like that actually doesn't exist. That if you're going to be reliant on one-way calls and then you have to infer what a customer is saying, I would assume there's probably not that many calls that get combated anyways, but then probably even smaller amount that actually get turned over because someone, because you can clearly make that connection. And then if you're relying on somebody that's walking you through the process, that somebody sitting in my position is going to be clicking on the billing tab. You don't click on the billing tab when you sign up for any of these packages. And I'm not trying to vent here. I'm trying to get to a point that it's the same thing as case closed. If we could be honest with each other, unless when you talk to Katie, regardless, she happens to drop a bombshell. But we probably know what's going to happen anyways. Case closed, if that's how it is as of right now, which it sounds like it is. So I guess my follow-up question would be, is your sales team truly part of Yelp, or is it like a secondary business?
Oh, it's part of Yelp.
Okay. So your sales rep, Katie, and your whole sales team is part of Yelp, right?
Yeah, they're all Yelp employees.
Okay. Awesome. Because I'm probably going to take one additional step after this, which is, to file a report. I know I'm not going to do small claims court, but it is dishonest. Not you. I appreciate your clarity and being candid throughout the process, but this is something that consumers should know about. Like if they get calls from Yelp constantly, and then there's pretty much no way to prove that somebody is misleading them, to close that sale, and it's all reliant on a manager at the last minute to stop them and tell them go on script. And even if they were to go through that manager and then go through someone like yourself to review a one-way call, the consumer is totally in a bad position. A business owner is going on Yelp so they can get visibility. They might do it for SEO purposes, signing up for a Yelp account. They may have a lot of different purposes. But if there's actually if it seems like Yelp, by calling people, which only accounts for what, like 20% of your guys' revenue? It's
like I said,
doesn't self-service.
To the best of my knowledge.
Right. No, I'm not going to quote you on that.
Yeah, don't quote me.
I'm just saying that it's a bit aggressive to do that and to have those follow-up calls, and then to have like no way to actually get your money back from being sold on what's supposed to be a special promotion into your guys' service, and then never hearing from that salesperson beyond that. And then not only that, you hear the good news that that salesperson has been doing such a good job at their job that they got promoted. You know what I'm saying? But I hear what you're saying, that this has been going on too long. But I just wanted to kind of get that last, clarification. I wouldn't want to sort of file a complaint against, someone that's not actually with corporate on the back end. It looks like it's corporate, but it's a different subsidiary or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Yelp. Yelp is Yelp. We're all Yelp employees. Mm-hmm.
Okay, right on. All right. Well, thanks for your time. Appreciate your information.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate. Like I said, I apologize for the situation as it is a result of, whether it's a miscommunication, misrepresentation, or misunderstanding, or misinterpretation. Combination of those things, or one of those things. I apologize for it. Sorry you have to, talk to as many people to get some clarity. But it is such that everybody here has different tenure and is just privy to different pieces of information. So happen that you're talking to someone who's been here quite some time. So.
Okay. Well, thanks for your time. Have a good night.
Yeah, no problem. You as well.
All right.
Have a good day.